Tua, first off, you're walking around here, you're walking around this room, no limp, no sign that you're still bothered by this hip injury. Do you view this as one of the toughest challenges you've had to go through in your life?
Yeah, this is probably the toughest challenge that I've
What part of it?
Because you want to do so much, but you can't because you got to let the hip heal.
And Tua's down. His helmet came off. This is exactly what you did not want to see happen.
I feel really good, but at the same time, still want to be cautious, with what the doctors have said. So I've been sitting down and throwing, just kind of keeping the motion and working my rotator cuff.
Not getting too rusty.
Not get too rusty. Yes, sir.
Obviously, you're expecting, positive results from everything you feel so far. When you made the decision to declare, what were some of the things that really factored into that?
I guess the biggest thing that factored into all of that was my parents. Coming from a Samoan background, our parents are everything to us. When they make decisions, big decisions, little decisions, they go and seek guidance from their own parents. That's my heart, too.
In my mind, I felt like the best thing was to come back. Wanted him to really heal up. And he came up to me and he said, Dad, if there's any decision that I want to make this decision. If you could respect that. I said, sure, son, I respect it.
We're just still here providing guidance and counsel, and at the same time giving him his own space. He's a grown man now.
Looking at the business side of it, if you end up getting hurt, again, God forbid any of that, you're still getting paid for it.
And I feel like the decision that I made was right for not just me, but everyone that was behind it.
Bama heading to the end zone. Here's Tua. He looks. He'll find a man open. Touchdown! How about that?
Feet like Drew Brees, accuracy like Brady, personality and composure like Russell Wilson. That's high cotton.
Yeah, that's a little too high.
Comparisons right there. What type of detail did you put into that coming up, youth league, high school, whatever?
A testament to all of that is my dad.
Wake up and chase a dream, yeah. Don't put that on my wish list.
I always felt that he needed to compete at a higher level. And we always hear that, right?
Right.
You got to compete at a higher level. Well, in order for you to compete at a high level, you got to play with kids that are at that higher level.
When I hit about fourth grade, first time I went to camp with high schoolers.
Wait, fourth grade you went to camp with were you watching or were you participating?
I participated.
Go over, routes, understanding that your accuracy and your power comes from you just throwing it. We went over that at a young age, But that's how all that started.
Have you started thinking about where you could end up or how this could play out?
We've looked at teams, we've talked about teams, we've talked to teams. Somebody might trade up and you could possibly drop or you could possibly go higher. We've been talking about all those scenarios.
Is there any team you're looking at like, man, I'd be good in that system or that system?
If you're saying to me, if I could choose what team I want to play on, as far as my favorite team growing up, then I'd probably tell you the Cowboys. But, they're so far down.
Bump Dak Prescott.
No, I'm not trying to bump them. I'll learn under them,
You'd be willing to learn. Mm-hmm. But the fans are just waiting to get you in because you're such a popular young man.
Thank you.
How would you handle a dynamic like that?
I'd handle it the way that, the coaches there want to handle it. Honestly, I just want to be able to play again. I wouldn't mind learning under whatever guy that's the starter. Give me a whole year to rest up, and then go back out and compete. But, I just want to go back out and play.
And that interview was done prior to the Combine in Indianapolis. The reports are Tua Tagovailoa's medicals came back as positive as could be. So his recovery from the hip injury seems to be on track. Still not actively running and throwing footballs just yet. We'll keep you posted as we get closer to the draft. Bucky Brooks already had Tua as his number one quarterback prior to the medicals being positive there in Indianapolis. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and then Jacob Eason rounds out Bucky Brooks' top 5 best available quarterbacks through the draft. Let's just talk about the big two dogs right now, Burrow and Tua. Yeah. Some people are making an argument that Cincinnati should give Tua a strong look.
You could.
Let's not say which one they're going to draft or who should Cincinnati go for, but which quarterback would you rather build an NFL franchise around?
See, when you talk about build, I got an interesting take. My build is I have to look at a lot of different parts, starting with my offensive line. Now, Cincinnati, they have the 5th worst, according to PFF, protection as far as the offensive line. That means if you can't protect the quarterback, I need a guy that can move the pocket. Yeah. That's telling me Tua. Miami has the worst. So if you can't protect the quarterback, then I need a guy that can move the ball. And an example of that is Russell Wilson, a guy that's mobile, very accurate down the field, a guy that can protect himself. He has to learn to get down or get out of bounds or throw the ball away, but he's not looking to run. He's looking to throw. And since his entrance as a freshman in the national championship, he showed that he has the poise, he can handle pressure. The last 3 years, he's beat every single team pretty much, and he's been consistent. A huge sample size, a guy like that. And if you're going Joe Burrow, like, he showed that he can win at a high level too. It's just you're not going to get the out-of-pocket experience like you will with Tua.
A lot of people think there's a lot of Russell Wilson in Tua Tagovailoa as well. So, okay.
And when you look at the quarterback position, the most important thing is consistency. Are you going to do it every single game? And Tua has shown us for 3 straight years that he is that guy. I am going to be consistent every single game. With Joe Burrow, it's like, okay, are we going to get the guy that threw 14 touchdowns? Or are we going to get the guy that threw 60? It's a small sample size, but which guy are we going to get? I feel like with Tua, if you have a bad football team, and right now you're drafting number 1 Cincinnati Bengals, so you have a bad football team, and I feel like a bad football team, Tua is going to be the one that makes your team better. With Joe Burrow, I feel like a lot of things have to go right around him. The O-line has to be good. You have to have some big-time weapons on the outside for him, kind of like a guy that Arizona drafted in Josh Rosen. A lot of stuff had to be right. And then you get a guy like Kyler Murray that can make things happen, and your offense is better. I'm not saying Joe Burrow is Josh Rosen, but what I'm saying is that a lot of things have to be right for Joe Burrow. With Tua, he can step in there, and he is going to make your offense better by how big of a playmaker he is.
Last quick point.
Yeah, I will say this about Joe, though. This guy, if you're looking to see every single throw a quarterback can possibly make in a football game, he's done it at the highest level, and he has beat the best. Now, I've seen a pocket passer win 6 Lombardis, and that's Tom Brady.
Right.
So you can move good within the pocket without being as athletic. This kid has the it about him. He does make other players better. And I do like Joe. So I'm not slighting him because he's not Tua. He doesn't have a big sample size. But what he did this year, his historical year, I think that it's going to carry on. I'm not just saying he's a one-hit wonder. I like him a lot. So.
All right, I'm going to say something to Burrow or Tua right now.
Okay.
The last 3 league MVPs, NFL MVPs, were quarterbacks, and they were not the first quarterback taken in their respective draft. So whoever goes second, don't sweat it.
Oh, man, you're going top 5.
So you watch A.J. Boye is on the move. The Jags have agreed to trade the former Pro Bowl corner to Denver in exchange for a 2020 4th-round draft pick. The trade won't be official until the new league year begins. That's in a couple weeks from now. The Chargers and Travis Benjamin are parting ways. Both sides say this is a mutual parting. Benjamin agreed to take a pay cut prior to last year. Then he only played in 5 games for the Bolts in 2019, catching 6 passes. NFL media's Tom Pelissero reporting that Ravens free agent linebacker Matt Judon is a candidate to be franchise tagged and then traded. We saw a couple teams do this last year with defenders. The benefit for the Ravens would be immediate compensation, i.e. an immediate draft pick, as opposed to a compensatory pick if he were to leave via straight free agency. Speaking of free agency, here are the top 10 best available free agents according to NFL.com. Go to the website for the full list of available free agents. You don't see Chris Jones on this list, by the way, because Kansas City is expected to tag the franchise defensive linemen. Willie and James, what wide receivers are going to cash in big come free agency?
And JJ, when you're a big-time receiver like you was in this league, you get a big-time list. So JJ, give me your top 5 free agents, receivers, starting with E-Man, Emmanuel Sanders.
As you can see right here, I got Emmanuel Sanders at number 5. Listen, we're still talking about a route technician in Emmanuel Sanders. Every time he goes out on the football field, it could be in the slot, it could be on the outside, he's a route technician. And not only that, he's a leader in that locker room. And if you're a team with a lot of young wide receivers and you need a leader and a guy that can teach these young fellas, it's Emmanuel Sanders, and you can get him at the right price as well.
On leadership. How about number 4?
And number 4, I got Randall Cobb. Listen, it's a guy named Amari Cooper that might not be there. They might not be able to afford him. You have Coach Mike McCarthy coming over from the Green Bay Packers, who drafted Randall Cobb. Going to be running the same offense. So if you have to go draft a young receiver because you lose Amari Cooper, who better to teach him and learn from than a guy in Randall Cobb, who's been in this offense for so long. And not only that, the chemistry with him and Dak late in the season, they came on 800-plus yards. He had a very good year last year. I'm keeping Randall Cobb from the Dallas Cowboys.
Just keep him in place. Keep him at home. All right, number 3.
And then right here, A.J. Green. If he was not hurt, he would be higher on this list. We're talking about a bona fide number 1 wide receiver, can do it all, demands double teams, demands all the attention from the defensive coordinators. And like I said, if he wasn't injured and didn't battle the injury all season long, he would be higher on this list. But let me tell you something. They probably going to draft a quarterback in the first round. They going to want to keep A.J. Green. But I don't know if he wants to stay. So if you're a team out there, any team, because A.J. is going to make your team better. He's going to take your offense from a Range Rover to a Ferrari just like that right when he walks out there. That's the type of player A.J.
So
Green
the injuries
is.
don't bother you? He's a big-time free agent.
Not at all. No, it wasn't a serious injury.
Now, this
like
next
that.
one kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Robbie Anderson.
Number 2.
Listen, only reason why I have him at number 2 is because when you think of Robbie Anderson, you think speed. And he has speed. 11 touchdowns, over 30-plus yards, third in the NFL. But listen, he made so many big boy catches this year in traffic. Sam Darnold started trusting him and just letting the ball go. And if you're a team like the Green Bay Packers and you have Devontae Adams on the other side, you can add a guy like Robbie Anderson on the other side of him. And the reason why he's 2, because you're going to be able to get him at a good price. And I'm talking about around $10, $11 million a year instead of 18, something like these number 1 receivers are getting, and you can get a very good player in Robbie Anderson.
Since you mentioned number 1, can we get to the number 1 guy on your free agency list?
Oh, no. Bona fide number 1 wide receiver can do it all. We all seen Dak Prescott take off when Amari Cooper came on this ball club. Instant separation off the line of scrimmage. You do not want to come up and press him because you will get routes like this and they will be wide open. And listen, Robbie Anderson, 30-yard touchdowns, 11 of them. This guy had more than them, and he ain't no 4-2 guy. It's because of the instant separation off the line of scrimmage. You do not want to come up and guard Coop. He makes any quarterback better. He's any quarterback's best friend. Amari Cooper, number 1 guy on the market right now.
There it is, Scott. If you want to get you a good wide receiver, you better listen to JJ. He's got him right here.
James doesn't mind spending other people's money, too, on those wide receivers, I have noticed. Yes, well done. Well, over the last 2 to 3 years, he has gone from the college football name everyone was trying to learn to one of the biggest names in the NFL draft. Tua Tagovailoa. His path to the draft did not start at